Okay, so I'm getting pretty close to wrapping up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to examine the sort of the 3D model project compared to my Minecraft world and what's available in it when with sort of within the context of I'm going to say this name right, Dr. Ruben Puntadura's SAM model for technology and education. I think in the last video, um, it's sort of established that this kind of environment and counting these blocks is at least a substitution for building a 3D model or a 3D landscape of something with paper and glue and cardboard and all that, and then using a ruler to measure our area. So you know how big is this? There's lots of objects that are around to interact with in that way. I also would say if augmentation occurs when there's functional improvement, well, uh, this is a functional improvement over that project as well, because as I kind of alluded to in the last video, this environment is much more enjoyable for building. Um, it's it's playing a game as opposed to sort of setting out with the task of building something to be evaluated. So I think there's a little bit of a value to be had there. It also allows students to be more creative with what they can do. Like they would never have been able to build an automatic farm or a monster den or a farm that actually works and grows trees and gives you resources with that pen and paper project. Um, and you know the 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 other advantage of this is that students who are limited and working in groups of two or three or four, so they could all work on the same piece of paper or the same project. You're no longer limited by group size in this game. You can put as many people as can fit in a server can all work in the same game. So you could assign a really large scale project for them, which I think is kind of neat. It changes the dynamic of how this thing gets built a little bit. Now, in the case of modification, I think that it also Minecraft allows a little bit for task redesign in that it sort of switches the orientation of the student towards the project. In that the math here is embedded in the gameplay experience instead of setting out with the purpose of solving this problem to get marks. You're now building a world that's fun and you can interact with, and sort of within that world there are mathematical lessons to be had and to be explored, if the teacher can find them or if the student can find them or ask questions about them, which kind of brings us to our last part of the model, which is the redefinition part. And so does it reinvent the wheel here, or does it do something so profound that it barely looks like the previous project? And I think that one's kind of a little bit up to interpretation in the sense that, say, could a student build a castle in real life? Well, no. Could they build one in Minecraft? And the answer is yes. But at the end of the day, that castle is still a 3D object of sorts. So conceptually, you're still using the same idea there. But this video is made in Minecraft vanilla, like no modifications, no downloads, and there are versions of this game, such as Minecraft Education Edition, which you get a subscription to, and that version was made by teachers with the intention of teaching multiple subjects in a Minecraft world. So there's chemistry lessons, there's math lessons, there's history lessons, there's all kinds of stuff. And sort of what I mean by history lessons or cross-curricular applications for Minecraft is that you could download a map that has a recreation of a city or a landscape, and in theory you could learn about the Canadian government in a replica of the House of Commons, and then also calculate the surface area of that building. If somebody ever decided to make one to scale, you could do something along those lines. Or even from an English ELA drama perspective, if you get a novel that's set in London and Victoria in England, you could build sections of that model, or you could, if somebody has made something that looks like that. I'm not fully aware of what kind of mods are out there, but it's a large community, so I imagine there are a bunch. But you could have your class act out a play that's set in the world of Minecraft, and you could have things like, going and hopping in a boat and sailing around the world, and part of the story could exist at the same time as other parts of the story, and students could tell each other what was happening in their Minecraft world while their buddy was off sailing to the other end of the ocean and exploring the vastness of the world that Minecraft is. And so I think that it's possible for a program like this to like really redefine what tasks like the one I saw in my practicum experience were, but it takes a lot of creative thought and a lot of experimentation to find them. But I guess if I had to pinpoint something, I would say that this would be fitting into modification. So still transformative of the experience, but not redefining it yet. But I'd say that for a game that's not built on math, and that's not the intention of the game isn't to learn about math, I would say that the fact that it modifies, a final assessment practice and turns the whole process into a different experience for kids who are learning about it is pretty darn cool.